Denver 7 On Demand is brought to you by Ferguson and BAC Appliance Center, the best in bath, kitchen, and lighting for your home.
I'm Shannon Ogden with the latest from Denver 7. As the spring weather heats up, you can often find families fishing and swimming in the South Platte River. But what is floating downstream from a Greeley beef company has led to a lawsuit. Environmental advocates say JBS Beef Company has been polluting the Platte for years. Denver 7's Jessica Porter has details on what's in the water.
Really, at its very core, you wouldn't want to take what's left over from your supermarket meat counter and dump it into your swimming pool.
Ammonia, animal fat, blood, and excrement. That's what's in the wastewater from JBS Swift Beef, according to the Environmental Protection Agency.
For the past 4 years, JBS has been in violation of their Clean Water Act permit. Essentially, they've been dumping more things into Lone Tree Creek than they should. Or things that they shouldn't be dumping.
JBS operates in Greeley. It's required to treat their wastewater from the thousands of animals it slaughters each day and bring it under permitted toxicity levels before releasing it.
So essentially, they dump it into the creek and it flows downstream into the Platte River, which is a major source of recreation for lots of families in the Greeley area.
The lawsuit points to EPA records, which show JBS has failed water toxicity tests for 5 years and even at times discharged unpermitted solids.
This stuff is toxic. It's not very good for aquatic species, for wildlife, and to be totally honest, it's gross.
JBS is a Brazilian-owned company and reported $49 billion in net revenue last year. The lawsuit comes as the company is under fire for taking $64 million in tariff bailout payments meant for hurting American farmers.
We see this all the time where multi-billion-dollar corporations are the first in line to get bailed out when things go wrong. So no, at the end of the day, government bailout money is really designed to help, small farmers, family farmers. JBS shouldn't be receiving this money.
JBS sent us a statement promising they are working on making a change, saying they are, quote, committed to being good neighbors. We recently invested a significant amount to buy and install new blowers and provide oxygen to the wastewater treatment process, allowing us to further improve our process and ensure compliance. Future water tests will be needed to determine if their water treatment process has improved. Jessica Porter, Denver 7.
JBS's permit to treat and release wastewater expired in 2017. Environmental groups are pushing court now to stop JBS from violating water quality standards and adopt new practices. They were accused of beating a man, lying about it, and then they were fired. And now we are, 10 years later, 2 Denver police officers want their jobs back. City officials plan to ask the Colorado Supreme Court to review the case for Randy Murr and Devin Sparks. And this would be the first time in more than a decade that Denver has taken an employee discipline case all the way to the highest court in the state. So back in 2009, city cameras caught the officers throwing Michael De Herrera to the ground and beating him with a club. They originally told supervisors a man swung at them. Well, the video does not show that. Sparks and Murr were fined and suspended. This is April 2009. But then when investigators find out they lied, the city's safety manager fired them. This past April, the Colorado Court of Appeals ruled, though, Denver did not have the authority to fire them. So if the high court declines to hear the case or upholds the earlier ruling, the city will have to give them their jobs back or offer them and give them tens of thousands of dollars in back pay. 3 people were hurt this morning in a fire at a gas plant in Weld County. The contractors work for Summit Midstream. They were working on a compressor at Hereford Ranch plant when this fire broke out. Look at that. So they were taken to the hospital. Last check, being treated for burns, and the cause of the fire is under investigation. Tonight, we're getting an aerial view of the Greeley grave dug up by police yesterday. Officers blocked off the site at Lynn Grove Cemetery early yesterday morning. The grave site belongs to a couple born in the 1930s. One of the caskets was unearthed and then put back into the ground. Police say they did collect evidence, but didn't give any details on just what case this evidence is related to. A DU law professor is suing the university, saying she makes thousands less than her peers, $30,000 less to be exact. Rashimi Goel is the longest tenured associate professor at the law school, but her lawsuit says she's the lowest paid. She blames the wage gap on her gender and her race. Well, the university says in a statement, we care deeply about fairness, equity, and opportunity. We have been working very closely in cooperation with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission to ensure we meet the spirit and intent of the EEOC settlement we reached last year. And just last month, Governor Polis signed a bill to address the gender wage gap. This new law allows employees who think they are being discriminated against to file a civil suit against their employer. Companies are protected if they have employees who work in, say, another city or who have more training and more education. A moderate flood threat's been issued for the Spring Creek burn area. Now, the Spring Creek fire, you recall, burned more than 100,000 acres, destroyed about 100 homes last year, so it doesn't take much to trigger mud flows and flash flooding. Well, state officials toured the area in March and warned residents to be prepared. Well, this is a scene near a lot of mountain towns these days. Crews clearing up debris, preparing for flooding. South of Redstone in the small town of Lake City, officials are clearing debris at the base of a bridge. You know, that debris can cause the water to dam up and then make flooding even worse. Experts are preparing for heavy floods because of our higher than normal snowpack. Tomorrow marks 75 years since D-Day, the largest invasion by air, land, and sea in world history. Well, just a few weeks before Father's Day, a Denver man is remembering his father's service that day. Denver 7's Jason Grenauer sat down with him as the man acted as narrator for his father's story.
A family photo album.
We called him the Great One.
A history book.
That's my father, George Lott.
A son now tells his story.
My father was already enlisted when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor.
A Coast Guard steward who rose to the rank of signalman, part of the U.S.'s first active combat in World War II.
North Africa, he survived first assault under heavy fire. Sicily, he survived first assault under heavy fire. Salerno, first assault under heavy fire. A couple of weeks later, Operation Overlord, H-hour. 6:30 a.m., D-Day, June the 6th, 1944.
Aboard LCI-85, landing craft infantry.
Easy red sector, straight down the pipe. All the archive footage you see with those boys are running and they're getting killed on that beach, just dropping, that's where my father was. He took them boys to that beach.
In the process of beaching not once but twice under enemy fire, George Lott was hit 3 times.
25 shell hits his landing craft took on that beach.
He passed away in 1994 at the age of 74.
He was a good man. What else is there to say? Every single one of them boys in that picture right there were good men. I want people to know that my father was right along with those good men. That's all.
The greatest generation indeed. From the First Alert Weather Center, here's a look at your forecast. Highs in the 80s, at least for the next 3 days, and mild nights, scattered showers as to be expected. But all in all, I'll take it. What do you think? Well, this has been your Denver 7 On-Demand Update. Thanks for watching. We'll have another one later for you tonight. Also, do yourself a favor. Download the Denver 7 app for breaking news and alerts. I'm Shannon Ogden.